Hey there, it's Elisa, the Half Vision Tarot Queen, and I'm coming from a new location because I've kind of traveled home for the holidays. And yeah, I got here and I got reunited with all my tarot decks because this is where they were. So I'm excited because I'm gonna start mixing it up with some other decks. But I was thinking, because I've been kind of doing this pattern of checking in with the storyline of the Divine Feminine once a week, but last week there was just like a lot of just love coming through all around in all the readings, and the Divine Feminine storyline was definitely coming up, so I didn't really do a dedicated reading. However, given that there was this full moon in Gemini, 12/12 portal, and there's like transformation happening in all of our relationships, it seemed like a good moment to maybe check in. Yeah, it's funny because I was joking about how there seemed to be like this climax with relationships that had been happening, and I'm like, what's going on? All the readings have turned to love readings, so it very well may have a lot to do with the 12/12 portal. So for the overall energies, I'm going to go to this Star Child Tarot deck, which I really love this deck a lot. It's pretty metaphysical, and it seems pretty appropriate for this portal of ascension. And I've definitely been having this moment with the moon that's been pretty beautiful. Okay, wow. Wild. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the book for this because there's a couple cards that are unique to this deck. So for the overall energies, I got the Four of Wands. So this is the marriage, family, stability card, And it's interesting that this is coming up when we're talking about the whole 12/12 portal, because this is all about relationships being transformed, and this can often signify, going to a higher level of commitment in a relationship. And then we have, next to that, we have the transformation card. So this could be like, kind of like the world in a traditional tarot deck. But obviously there's a big shift happening. And then we have the Starseed. So this is a card that's unique to this deck. So I'm just going to read from the book because it seems appropriate. Let's see. Maybe it's at the beginning. Yes, the Starseed. Starseed is the inner spark of your being that journeys throughout many lifetimes, forms, and worlds of your story. It's a divine energy that gives you the strength and foresight to go your own way along a new uncharted path. When you connect with this part of yourself, the serendipitous moments seem to continuously unfold around you, and magic is present in your life. It is your own internal compass that directs you toward your dreams and the inner light. The lessons that shape and form you throughout all of your adventures and awakenings are going to be essential. But don't forget, the limitations of the outside world also have the power to distract us from our higher calling. This is when we must look inward in order to find the answers, to seek who we truly are beyond what we've been told or expected to be, to find out what fulfills us on a much deeper place of spirit. This is your journey. This is the light of your path. So that's really interesting because that definitely falls in line with the 12/12 portal, because it's just kind of all about, inner work and healing and reconciling, how you show up in relationships, and kind of transforming that And then the transformation card, which it's number 13 in this deck, so I kind of confused it with the universe card, but I'm just going to read from the book, the meaning of this card. Transformation represents the entry point into a new state of understanding and enlightenment. You may feel as though something major is shifting in your life. This reevaluation of old beliefs may force you to eliminate the distractions or difficulties you've been experiencing, enabling you to fully grasp your highest potential. Your true priorities have been exposed and revealed for what they truly are, which puts everything else into perspective. How are you going to use your time and skills from now on? Are you ready to take the next evolutionary step in your own personal growth? Be open to the opportunities that present themselves, especially if they align with your heart. This is a period of positive change, even if it appears to be daunting or frightening. Sometimes all we need is an extra push into an entirely new direction to know what we're truly capable of. So this is really interesting. Sorry, I'm like, my glasses fall down. Because there seems to be a huge transformation that's happening, and stepping it up, in some sort of relationship to a higher level of commitment, and maybe part of this transformation is figuring out how we show up in relationships, and there's a massive healing that's happening with regard to that, so that's pretty cool, I'm going to pull some general energy. So I'm going to go to this White Sage Tarot. I love the artwork on this deck. This is a deck that's local to Minneapolis, where I just came from. And yeah, I'm going to pull some cards from this deck just to get some general energies for this story of the Divine Feminine. So yeah, it seems like the Divine Feminine is definitely going through a transformation about how she might be showing up in relationships. And let's see what else we get from the White Sage Tarot. Wow. Oops. Yeah, it's funny because in these moments of change, it's like, things can come out of the blue and that you weren't expecting and have these profound impacts that, on the bottom of the deck we have the Ten of Cups. So this is happiness, abundance, fertility, love, it's like total fulfillment in love and abundance. So that's a good energy to be in. And then we have the King of Wands, the Ten of Wands, and we have the Three of Swords. So it's interesting. I mean, how I'm taking this. So this King of Wands is a king that's really, in command of his emotions, and has figured out how to harness the power of his emotions, to be in his power. And he's, just like an authentic king who's very passionate, but, has figured out how to harness that passion, to manifest the life that he wants. And that's showing up under the Four of Wands. And then we have putting down this burden, the Ten of Wands, which is part of this transformation, So perhaps some sort of burden that was like maybe blocking this evolution from happening in past cycles. And then under the starseed, just like figuring out healing yourself and how you show up in the world, we have the Three of Swords. So this kind of suggests that maybe the burden that's being put down, that's allowing this king to step into his power, to harness the power of his emotions, is maybe healing some sort of heartbreak, which is impacting how he's showing up in relationships. He has this burden of this heartbreak, maybe from the past, that needs to be healed. And maybe that's part of the transformation that's happening in this gateway. So underneath that we have the Hangman. So that's underneath the King of Wands and the Four of Wands. We have the Six of Wands. And then we have the Five of Swords. So really interesting, because obviously this indicates, some reflection. So this King of Wands is reflecting, he's reflecting on what change is required to bring this into fruition. And, the transformation, it looks like, putting this burden down, he's going to be victorious, the Six of Wands, in putting this burden down, which is going to help to bring this transformation, into being. And then we have, the Five of Swords. So this is kind of just showing, like, showing up in relationships, with this energy of heartbreak, that just results in a lose-lose situation. Like, and it's maybe a cycle that he's been orbiting for a long time. And he's maybe figuring out that, this energy is coming from him, and this is attracting this loss. And this is how he needs to show up differently. This is the lesson that he is coming to from this whole process of this portal. I'm going to pull 3 cards of guidance from the Star Child Tarot, just to kind of... It's interesting because I was doing this Divine Feminine reading, or that's what this reading was supposed to be about, but we have this King of Wands who is like the main character, and this card is now flipped out twice. The Seven of Swords. So this is like a card of, not being honest with yourself, or lying to yourself or to others, or just, not being in your truth. And so, this energy that needs to be healed, this heartbreak that kind of separates you from connection, that might be the lie, that needs to be looked at. It's just sort of like, where is this heartbreak coming from? Is it coming from yourself? Are you carrying it forward? Are people actually breaking your heart? Are you breaking your own heart? Like, what's going on here? This is something that needs to be looked at. Okay, so I'm just going to pull a couple more cards, but yeah, it's really interesting because this is, it's like, why is this main character the King of Wands in the Divine Feminine reading? I'm not sure what that's about, but maybe we'll come to it. One more card. That's more than one card. Right. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So then, under the King of Wands, that's sort of taking a step back and reflecting. We have the Knight of Swords. So that's a message of truth or clarity that's coming through for this King of Wands, who's kind of in a moment of reflection about how he can maybe bring this energy forward. So there's some message of truth and clarity that's coming through. Then, you know, he's going to be victorious on putting this burden down, and this is going to be, you know, what's going to trigger this transformation to happen. But there's a lot of anxiety around this. So, you know, there's some pain that's needing to be healed. So this is someone who's kind of trapped in their thoughts and not really able to see a path forward. So, you know, just know that, like, you will be victorious in putting this burden down, but you will probably have to move through some difficult energies to get there. And then, you know, with the Starseed, it's like what you have to heal about yourself. Like, these are the difficult energies that need to be moved through, and these are really heartbreaking, difficult energies. But the card that fell on top of that is the Nine of Cups, which is the wish card. So you will be successful, you know. So keep the faith and keep moving forward, because it's right there. I'm gonna pull, because this is, you know, this 12/12 portal of ascension. It seems appropriate to pull from my Gateway Oracle cards. So it's like I just realized today that, because I love this deck too, and it's the same author of the Sacred Traveler Oracle, which I also use a lot. So that's kind of funny. This deck in particular, I got from a vegan cheese shop, which is, it's like the first vegan cheese shop. And I didn't realize this, but yeah, if you've been following my whole vegan cheese empire thread, the shop is in the neighborhood that I was born, or lived in as a baby, and it started at the same time, you know, of when I was a baby. So there's like a lot of destiny, and I've always had, you know, crazy synchronicities happen when I go there, and that's where I got this deck. So one more card. I'm just gonna pull 3. Okay, so we have making a difference. So this came out in yesterday's reading of a story of the starfish. You know, the guy with the thousands of starfish that were beached, and he keeps like throwing them in, and somebody's like, why, this is hopeless. And he's like, what difference does it make? And he's like, it makes a difference to this. And that's yesterday there was a love reading, and there was like one of the parties who was kind of like a hot mess, and the other party was sort of like being like a lighthouse for that person. And it seemed like a hopeless situation, because this person is like really confused and a mess, you know. But this is seeming to indicate that, you know, you are making a difference. So maybe some affirmation from the universe. And then we have stepping into stillness. My power is born in the majesty of silence. So, you know, I mean, part of this transformation is happening, but you might have to take some time to yourself to reflect and, you know, meditate, put this burden down, and move through this anxiety by stepping into stillness. And then we have planting seeds. Souls of grace are being planted in the fertile soil of my soul. So So these energies are being healed, and this is paving the way for this new beginning, new way of showing up in the world. So keep the faith. It's a big change, and it's not going to all happen overnight, but you got this, and we'll check in tomorrow.